Hello, I'm Paddy, and I'm going to read to you today from a book called The Party. This book was first written in 1960, so it's quite an old-fashioned party. There's a cake here. Susan and John are going to a party. That's Susan and that's John. And they've got a letter here saying, "Please, can you come to my birthday party on Saturday at 3 o'clock. That comes from Anne. I think this is Susan and John's mum. Susan puts on her blue party dress. There it is. She puts on her blue shoes. She's got a pet cat as well. Those are the shoes, blue shoes. Mummy ties her blue ribbons. There they are, the blue ribbons. John puts on his grey trousers. He's wearing short trousers. You see there on the clock, it's about 2:20 by the clock. Looks like there's a torch on the table as well, and there's maybe a tin of something. Interesting. He puts on his white shirt. There's his white shirt. He's got white socks as well to match. And there's a tie. He's probably going to wear that as well. Let's see. Mummy ties his red tie. There it is. Susan and John put on their coats. She's got a kind of orangey red coat. He's got a pale brown coat. They've got a pet dog as well. They walk down the road to Anne's house. Here is Anne's house. There's a yellow door there, and they're knocking on it. They've got presents for them as well. Did you see them earlier on? There were some presents on the table. They've picked them up. They haven't forgotten the presents. Anne opens the door. This is Anne wearing a yellow dress and a pink bow. Susan and John say happy birthday. They give Anne her presents. She looks very pleased to have some presents. Anne says thank you and opens the parcels. Everyone's looking on to see what's inside. And here's all her birthday cards as well. You can work out how old she is. There is a book from Susan and some pencils from John. This book's called The Farm, and it looks a lot like this book. I think she's been given a Ladybird book for her birthday. She's very pleased with those, I think. There's her colouring pencils. Susan and John take off their coats. I think this is Anne's mum helping them take their coats off. They all play Hunt the Thimble. Can you see the thimble? Have you played Hunt the Thimble? It's a game we used to play when we were young, where somebody hides a thimble, which is a little metal cap you put over your finger when you're sewing to stop yourself putting a needle into your finger. Somebody hides it in a room, and everyone has to find out where it is, and the person who finds it first wins a prize. Have you seen it yet? It's there on Anne's mum's finger. Then they play Blind Man's Buff. Blind Man's Buff's another party game where one person has a blindfold on and they have to find everyone else by touching them, and everyone else tries not to be touched, and the person who gets touched last is the winner. Anne's mummy says, "Tea is ready." They're still playing over there. That looks like Anne, who's got the blindfold on now. There are 6 candles on Anne's cake. I think Anne is 6 years old. There's the cake, and there's the candles, all 6 of them. Anne blows out the candles. Then they all have a piece of birthday cake. Look at John there eating a big piece of cake. He likes that cake. Those look like Jaffa Cake biscuits. I think they've got dates. They've got cherry Bakewell tarts. I think that's probably some jelly in the bowl. And I think those are probably tuna and bread splits. And orange squash to drink. After tea they play Oranges and Lemons. That's an old nursery rhyme based on the bells and the bell towers in London. The bells of St Clement's say oranges and lemons. And there's a action for it where people walk through an arch. And at the end of the rhyme, somebody says, "Here comes a chopper to chop off your head." And they bring their arms down and catch the person who's underneath at the time. If you're interested, look up that poem and find out the history of it. I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere. The party's over. Then they all put on their coats, they say goodbye and thank you. There's John and Susan on their way out. There's Anne saying goodbye. There's the other children leaving. Susan and John write letters to Anne after they get home. They say thank you for a lovely party. John saying thank you for the lovely party. And Susan saying, to hold it up to have a look, the party was very nice and I had a good time. It's always nice to send a thank you letter or a text or an email. And that's the end. I hope you have a party quite soon. Thanks for listening.